Hello, Tungsten Miner here. Back again, working on this house, more chisels and bits stuff. I thought it might be interesting to talk about what I've been learning trying to make such a large structure and such a complicated one using chisels and bits and some techniques I've been using. So last time I talked about the overall structure and a little bit about the staircase and some of what I've been doing. So let me go upstairs here. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the entirety of the courtyard hemmed in. So both the circle along the bottom there, some pillars, which maybe is not what I want. I haven't quite decided yet. We'll see. And then one ring of the glass that goes all the way around. And you can see, like I've been doing, I've got this ring of limestone, which is 12/16 or 3/4 of a meter thick, with the glass running right down the middle of it. And then I've got the wooden pattern going all the way around. And then every once in a while, let's see if we can spot it from over here. No, not really. Yeah, so underneath you can see what I've really done is I've got these gneiss bricks going across, and then I just carved off the top quarter of the block wherever it crosses one of these. And then everywhere else, I've added a quarter block layer of limestone underneath the quarter block layer of the wood. So you've got the wood on top all the way around, and then underneath it alternates between these support frames and just the ceiling texture itself. And then in the center, I've got this whole thing. So I talked about last time how I use my program Pixin to be able to figure out where each of these blocks goes for such large circles. This time I thought it might be useful to talk about how I go about making the circle go all the way around, because I did not just continue using that same process. Instead, let me switch back. Yeah, I find it for doing these videos, it's easier to be in creative mode to show what's going on. Yeah, so I found, anyway, that what I wanted to do to get everything to repeat and to be able to duplicate everything is to make some more of these positive chisel designs. And the recipe for them is pretty straightforward, just paper and lapis with a little bit of water. So I went ahead and made myself a bunch more. And then I took them and spread them out across the bottom, my toolbar here, and then went along and said, okay, let me grab each and every one of these. So I'm going to grab that one, slide over a block, grab that one, slide over a block, grab that one, slide over. And this one here, you can see kind of crosses two blocks, because in this direction, you can see there's the one block there, and there's the next block over there. And that pane crosses that boundary. So I need to do this one in two pieces, this one and then this one, and then the next one I go over here and grab that, next one come over here and grab that, and here this one crosses again, and so I grab that. So now what I've got is all of these pieces of glass. When I hold down shift, you can see they transform into the actual pieces of glass, but it really doesn't tell you anything because you can't really make out exactly what's going on there. But I happen to have some glass here, so I'm going to lay down a couple of pieces of glass, and then I'm going to use my chisel to scoop up the glass and put that back again. So now all I have to do in order to lay down another one of those same boundaries, which I'll do as an example here, is change to placement mode and then click. Move to the next one, change to placement mode, and click. Move to the next one, placement mode, click again, move to the next one, placement mode, click again, and just keep working through this process. And as I move from one boundary to the next, you can see how they just line up all the little pieces. And I get this great preview, so I can see pretty clearly where the little bits of the blocks are going to wind up going, until I've used up my entire set of patterns. Let's see, is it getting dark? It's getting dark. sleeping bag does not like sleeping on chisel blocks that are not fully filled in. It seems to be okay with ones that are more completely filled, but the ones that are partly filled it doesn't like. Anyway, so having gone through each of those 9 pieces, I've gotten a segment filled in again. And this segment matches exactly the segment that I copied it from, which is to say this little piece over here. So I'd go and take this, move over here to this spot, because I know this is the middle block. And you can see when I look closely how it's the center there, and it's starting to get narrower off in that direction and curving off in that direction. So I know this is the middle. And then I'd make it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 9, going down that way. And once I had finished that, I'd come back around to here, figure out where I had left off, and then repeat the process to grab the next little chunk of glass, and then go back around and do it again, and again, and again. And in fact, unfortunately, I wasn't quite bright enough to have worked this out at the time, but if I were smarter, I would have said, oh, this is going to start here and go around a little ways. Then I'm going to start over there and go around a little ways. Then I'm going to start there and go around a little ways. Then I'm going to start there and go around a little ways. Because, of course, this has symmetry in 4 directions. So if I had really been thinking ahead, I would have figured that out and done 1/4 manually, like this first quarter manually, and then just cloned each of the other quarters in turn. In any case, I repeated the same process for doing this boundary down here. I made this the hard way, as I demonstrated last time, and then used my positive patterns to clone that bit by bit by bit. And that way eventually made it all the way around. And then laying down the floor, I did the same thing. So you can see in my tooltip up in the top of the screen that this is one of the ones that has 1 layer of 1/4 block thick jungle planks and 1 layer of 1/4 block thick limestone. But as I move back and you watch the thing, you can see up there's one where I've actually got the support beam underneath. So it's 3/4 of the gneiss bricks and 1/4 of the jungle plank. And then we're back to this. So in actual fact, the whole floor alternates, but you can't really tell, which is exactly what I was hoping for. So that gives me all of this stuff up here. Clean this up. Another super nice thing about Chisels and Bits. Very easy to do that. So now that I've got this all here, some more of the work that I've been doing. I finished this overhang here, and what I wound up doing is going back to Pixin, and I made a really wide oval, one considerably larger than would be a circular form here, until the shape just generally felt right. And then I went through and used the same process, except sideways instead of standing up and down, to make the different pieces. The columns I made just by kind of eyeballing them. I used Pixin to get a sense of the way to make them round, and made the capitals and footers just to seem as I like them. And then I've been using the same, yeah, we can't quite get it, the same basalt to make these kind of metal looking, or painted metal fittings, which is holding up the roof. And so all of this is now overlooking the entrance corridor there. And then just put a single strip of jungle wood planks along with some more glass to make the railing. The doorway here, you can see this is crossing a 1 meter boundary here. So I just took the glass out of the top meter here and the bottom meter there, and then replaced the edges with jungle wood to make just a very quiet little framed doorway. But you notice there's actually quite a few blocks between. There's like 3 blocks in between this part of the doorway and that part of the doorway. And this doorway follows the contour of the glass. So I couldn't actually put a real Minecraft door in there. There's nothing that would actually fit. But that actually kind of looks sort of nice. I like it. Using the same columns with gneiss to hold up the edges here, and I'll repeat those all the way down. I'll do the same thing in the 4 cardinal directions. So this is the first example of one of them. I obviously haven't finished this part, so I've got this part carved out and nice and circular, but obviously this is in the larger scale, and I haven't gotten around to doing anything with that yet. In the course of making this whole area here, I went through and replaced all of the blocks with the proper types. I haven't done that yet with the dirt blocks describing the rest of the outline of the shape here, nor have I copied over the staircase, but I'll use the same positive chisel designs to copy the staircase from over there and make it the same on this side. So this thing will be going away pretty soon too. As for the floor and whatnot, decided to go with jungle planks as the flooring all the way across, to have these same gneiss bricks as the room dividers, basically to follow the same pattern as I have in here. So I'll have the limestone ceiling with that curve kind of walking its way through, and then I'll have a little bit of the exposed gneiss bricks around the side with the jungle planks making up the center, and these corners making up the pillars. So, same doorway here. I used my design, my positive designs to copy those across. It's actually pretty straightforward. And I'll do the same thing with the wall segments here and just kind of build up the whole wall segments. This is going to follow basically the same pattern as this room over here. So I'll do the same work to get all the glass going all the way around. I think I'll just do the 1/4 and then copy. As I was talking about. Same thing for that boundary up there. And then the ceiling here is going to be all limestone. And so I'll go lay down the limestone blocks for all the rest of this as one of my next steps here. We're just getting over winter time here. It's just spring now, so the snow is just starting to melt. What else to talk about? This is going to be the second entrance. So looking at the map here, I have one entrance that's going to come in this way, and a second entrance that's going to come in this way. And these are all smaller rooms here. This is going to be the upstairs ring. These will be smaller rooms all through here and all through here. And then finally, this is going to be one of the big rooms, and this is going to be one of the big rooms. So if we follow around, you can see I've chosen one of the chisel patterns for red granite. To make the flooring out of here. And so everywhere we see, this is going to be one big room, and these will actually be pillars rather than blocks of dirt or even just open empty space. And I'm not going to put rooms or break this up in any way, so it'll wind up being one big room with pillars down the center. This will be probably my smeltery room. I've got all my smeltery parts over here, but as I was building things, I found that where I had left it before was now in the way, so took it apart. Yeah, and then glass all the way around the edge, just like I did for that one section back there. Let's see. I'm going to run off to my mine so that I can show how that works and how I've been getting some of these raw materials. So just a moment. Okay, so here I am, kind of in a swampy sort of biome here. It's starting to get dark. At the entrance to one of my mines. So having drilled my way down here to the layer where I knew I could find coal, among other things, I started digging around looking for some of the raw materials that I would need. So red granite I'm not really making much use of, but the Minecraft, the vanilla granite, I've been making lots of use of. So you can see here's some of it, which I haven't yet gotten around to harvesting. And this has been a very handy source of things. Oh, I should probably sleep before I go back upstairs. Right, so this has been one of my sources for stone and raw materials. The other source is just right around the corner. So grab my horse here. One of the reasons why I picked the home that I did is that it's very close to a number of different biomes. I forgot about that. So that swamp biome is pretty close by. This savanna biome is pretty close by. Yeah, let's zoom out a little bit here. Yeah, so here's where I was with that little mine I just showed you. And now I've come around the corner here and showing you this mine here. This is a savanna biome. This is a teeny little bit of a desert biome. This is a little bit of a mesa biome. Here's a frozen tundra biome. I'm in a plains biome. There's a forest biome right over here. So it's very nicely centrally located amongst lots and lots of different types of biomes, which means I don't have to go very far to find different things that I want. So down here is another mine. I started this one in the kind of feather mine style, but found everything I needed so quickly that I kind of didn't need to keep going. The floor here was once all granite, and obviously I've dug that all out. Here's where I've been getting some of the marble that I wanted. This was all red granite and is now gone, or rather vanilla granite, which is all gone. This is where I've been getting the gneiss for the bricks. This is where I've been getting the limestone. So every time, and tin in the walls here, and there's, at least there used to be some aluminum. That's one of the, yeah, there we go. There's still some aluminum up there. Remember, this mod pack uses COFH core to be able to control ore generation. And one of the things that happens, or that I've chosen to do, is to make it so that ore appears in these very long, very large veins, but very, very infrequently. So you might have to dig around for quite a while before finding one of these veins. Played around with it quite a lot. And I think I'll be doing a mod spotlight on COFH core because it's complicated and it can take a lot of fiddling to get it right. It's one of the harder things about making all of these mod packs. Down here, I actually kept going for a ways because I was looking for more red granite or vanilla granite after I dug it all up. And I got into this cave system, and I've put in enough torches, but I almost got killed. Yeah, the crashing noises are just dynamic surroundings. There's not any actual danger. Yeah, anyway, what with having no mobs on the surface, that means there's a lot more of them down in the cave systems. And it was rather quite dangerous. Not to mention, this is a hot climate, and so at the time it happened to also be summer. And so not only did I have to deal with swinging my sword around and doing lots of exerting activity and running away, but I also had the summer heat to deal with and very nearly overheated myself. So that gets me those two mines. Now I'm going to run off to my iron mine. You remember, iron in this mod pack occurs at higher elevations. And so I started off by going up into the hills. That, another reason why I settled where I did is there's this nice range of mountains nearby, which should be a good source of minerals that occur only in higher elevations. So yeah, I came up here and just started drilling into the side of the mountain, and before too long managed to find what I was looking for. But you do have to get pretty high up. Not this high up, though. Where's my mine? Oh, it's more this way. Actually, I probably should show in Journey Map here, I've got a whole bunch of waypoints for all the different things that I find. And what I'll tend to do is choose one of the outside rings of colors here to represent different kinds of stuff. So mines are always this color orange, and houses are always this color blue. And yeah, what else do I? Oh yeah, finding different harvest craft trees, since they're relatively rare and kind of hard to find. But you need bone meal to be able to ripen the fruits before you can pick them. I don't always find myself able to pick them when I encounter them, so I mark them up, excuse me, on my map so that I can go get them. But here I can turn on my copper mine here, my iron mine here. This is the nearest copper mine. This is the nearest aluminum mine. Here's that mine I showed you initially. So now as I look around my world, yep, there's that coal tin mine that I started at. Here's the aluminum mine. And there's my copper mine away off in that direction. And there's my iron mine very close by. I make these little holes just to drop my horse in so it doesn't wander off. So the iron mine, I didn't have to dig downwards to get to the elevation that I cared about. fortunately things were already at that elevation. And yeah, I got, I think, a whole stack of iron out of this already, and you can see there's iron still obviously clinging on the walls. So if I ever need more iron, I know where to come. But this also is a source of migmatite, which isn't particularly a stone I decided to use, but there you go. If I ever needed it, I'd have a good source for it. Yeah, all fairly conveniently located. I have made a couple of trips abroad. So one, I took a trip around the continent that I'm living on here and found all these different places. Just turn all the waypoints on. Yeah, so one of the other players, Jim, is down here. Robert over there. Robin over here. Actually, I think she's decided, yeah, she decided to move over here, so I'm going to probably remove her waypoint. You can see where I've started a couple of different mines of various kinds. The spawn points over here, everybody stayed pretty well clear of that. Then I also took a trip north and started exploring the coastline and found some, a lot more hot climates up this way. So, what am I doing? Jungle biome, lots of savanna biome. This is kind of a deserty sort of biome. This little square here is one of the rogue dungeons, temple dungeons, I think. More swamp, more forest, more kind of hot plains, a big stretch of jungle in which I found a bunch of these fruit trees, which I unfortunately couldn't do anything with. More desert over here, a couple of neat islands. Anyway, so yeah, the more you explore around, the more you find stuff. And let's see what else to talk about this time. I think that may be about it. Because I've had these fruit trees for a while. As I find new ones, I add them to the row. I was using spruce for certain things, so I've got that there. I've got jungle tree, which has been very handy. My apiary is doing pretty well. So yeah, lots of good stuff happening over here. But mostly been focused on getting the building up and functional and starting to fill in some of the internal details here. And of course, working on the circles. One thing that I'm fairly happy to report is that the frame rate doesn't seem too terrible. Let's see, I'm getting 30 frames per second or so here, and I'm playing right now in a windowed mode so that I can get the video to be the right size. But when I go to full screen, I get back up to my maximum preferred frame rate, which is 60 frames per second. It stays there pretty consistently, even though I've got this pretty enormous structure, which is almost all Chisels and Bits blocks. As I circle around here, it gets not so great in windowed mode, but it stays in the 50s to 60s when I'm in the full screen mode. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about how that's all working out so far. And yeah, I will carry on and make more progress and report on how things are going later. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to know when that next video is ready, hit subscribe. And I will talk to you later.